Hi, hello there, and welcome back once again to the channel. And today I am running the Sunderland Half Marathon. Let's get into it. So the Sunderland Half Marathon is a half marathon in Sunderland, would you believe? And it's going to be my first in-person race for quite some time. Aside from the 55k ultra last, I think it was September, October time, 2020, which wasn't really a race in my opinion because I was sort of just trying to survive the distance of running 55 kilometers, having only signed up to it a couple of days in advance. But yeah, today it's a half marathon in person with other actual people in real life, which is going to feel a little bit weird, to be honest, because I've only really run on my own for the last 18 months or so. So my last race before this was the Great North Run in September 2019. Obviously last year, with the whole COVID situation, the majority of in-person races were cancelled. There were some that went ahead. Unfortunately, none of the ones that I signed up for had gone ahead. So what's the aim of today? Well, for me, it's really just to get finished, and to get finished comfortably. So as you're probably aware, I've had a bit of injury issue over the first half of this year. I'm still not 100%. I know my fitness isn't quite right, it's not quite there. I don't yet have that full confidence in my leg to be able to push hard for the distance. So I don't have a particular time in mind. A lot of people have asking me, what are you going for? And yeah, for me, it's not about the time today. I did, about 12 weeks ago, I started a 12-week half marathon plan, and I thought this might be my opportunity to really push for that new PB, dip below the 80-minute mark perhaps. That was my target. I've done that in a time trial training run. I've never managed it in real life. But after a couple of weeks of my training plan, annoyingly, on an easy run of all things, my left calf, which has been causing me this recurring issue, tweaked, and that put me out for another couple of weeks. And then it was all about sort of rebuilding that strength, rebuilding my confidence in the leg again. And so I wasn't really able to complete that training plan. I'm still haven't quite got that confidence back in my leg and pushing for that sort of 80 to 90 minutes. But yes, that'll come. Like I say, today is just about enjoying the journey. Now, in terms of conditions out there, it's been raining a little bit this morning. It's overcast. It would actually be ideal race conditions, so it's frustrating that I'm not quite in that shape. But yeah, such is life. Yeah, so not too hot, not too cold. There seems to be a really nice light breeze. It's sort of a Goldilocks situation where everything seems just right. So for those out there today that are in tip-top shape, I think it's going to be a good run for them. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to take my GoPro out on the run. In fact, I'm probably not. It's just another thing to carry and another thing to worry about. So what I'm probably going to do is to do a bit of an introduction video now on how I hope things are going to go, and then I'll pick it up after the run when I get back in the car and talk a little bit about how it did actually go. I may take a little bit of footage on my phone in the meantime, but just to avoid having to carry something else and think about something else and potentially knock my form off during the run, I think I'm just going to leave the GoPro in the car and just enjoy myself. Hay fever is causing a little bit of an issue this morning actually. So I've woken up, I'm all bunged up. I have been for the last few days. It's been particularly high pollen count, I think, because I've been really knocked back with being bunged up and stuff the last couple of days. So I've had antihistamines, I've done nasal spray, all of that sort of great stuff, but nothing seems to be touching the sides, and I know a lot of people are complaining with the same issues. So hopefully that doesn't affect my breathing too much. The race is through the city centre of Sunderland, so there's not a lot of trees around. So hopefully once I get breathing, once I clear myself up, then that'll be fine. What else have we got to talk about? So today I'm going to be running in the Alphafly Next Percent. Up until the last minute, I wasn't quite sure which shoe I was going to go for. It was going to be a toss-up between the Alphafly Next Percent, the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, and the New Balance RC Elite V2. So I only picked the New Balance up a week ago, and I haven't really put enough miles into it to fully understand the shoe and decide whether or not I'm able to run in it. The Vaporfly Next Percent, I ran in that a couple of days ago, and I also ran in the Alphafly Next Percent a couple of days ago, just to double check, final checks to see and remind myself how each of the shoes felt and how I felt that I needed a shoe to feel to last the distance today. So for me, it was really about that additional bit of cushioning that the Zoom Air pods at the forefoot of the Alpha Fly provide, just to avoid that extra strain through the calf, those vibrations through the calf muscles, the micro tears that causes. I think I just need that little bit of extra cushioning. I'm also wearing calf sleeves, compression sleeves, to help with blood flow and to also, again, help avoid any unnecessary vibrations through the muscles. Now, I didn't really have the opportunity to film any of what I was doing before I left the house, but basically I got up at around about 7 o'clock. I got a decent night's sleep actually, but it was one of those, I don't know if anybody else gets this, it used to happen before I had an exam or if I've got an important meeting the next day, that you're dreaming about whatever that is. So for me last night, every dream was about today and about either running late, forgetting to the race, or trying to run in the race but my legs just aren't working, and all of that sort of stuff. Does anybody else find that when you've got something that you feel is important and has been on your mind a lot, in the run up to it, you're dreaming about it the night before? And the dreams felt really real as well. It was as if I was actually there trying to start the race, or trying to get to the start of the race. But this morning, yes, I got up, I've made sure that I'm very well hydrated this morning, so I'm hoping there's a toilet at the start of the route. I've had plenty of water. I've got some electrolyte water here as well, which I'm finding is great for hydrating. I usually have maybe half a bottle before a run and half a bottle afterwards, particularly a long run. I spent a great deal of time massaging my legs with a massage gun, and rubbing in CBD muscle and joint balm, which has been an absolute godsend these last 5 weeks or so since I discovered that, and just helping me get back from that injury and get over that. So yeah, plenty of time stretching as well, and then it was all a little bit chaotic in the last few moments before I left the house, because my wife and kids were setting off to go to football and swimming. Sunday's usually a very busy day in the Jamie's running household, so yes, lots going on this morning. Just driving past a big sign that tells me that all of the roads are closed because of the run, so hopefully I can get close enough anyway. It's about a 30-minute drive or something from where I live in Newcastle through to Sunderland, so I'm just making my way through there now. It's 9:30 on a Sunday morning, so the roads aren't all that bad, but what we do have is road closures. There's road works going on all over the place, combined with a couple of the main bridges into Sunderland are blocked off because the run actually crosses the River Wear. So I'm just hoping that I can find a route to a car park that's within a reasonable distance for me to do a little warm-up run and get to the start line. From what I understand, the start, it's a rolling start, so my time for entering the funnel is 10:29, which is quite specific. There's a waiting area. There's somebody driving really fast. There's a waiting area to keep people socially distanced and all of that sort of stuff. And then, as I say, 10:29 is my time for heading into the funnel. It's a couple of 100 meters walk to the actual start line, and then I get to hit the start button on my watch and then see what happens after that. So as much as I feel nervous, I've got this sort of the race day nerves. I know I'm not racing, I'm not in race condition, but even still I always have a tendency to put myself under pressure on race day, and it doesn't always end well. In fact, 99% of the time it doesn't end well. The last few races that I've done in person, I've been in great shape, but for some reason on the day I just go out too fast, I get too excited, I don't pace myself properly, and I blow up after sort of 9 or 10 miles. It happened in the Great North Run. The 9-mile mark, the 10-mile mark came by, and I was just overheating. I was really struggling with my breathing, my form was all sloppy, and I just lost the mental battle, and I ended up having to stop and walk. And I don't want that to happen today. I want to just be sitting in a pace that's comfortable enough to get around and enjoy it, enjoy being back, enjoy running with other people, and just enjoy covering the distance. Right, here's the first diversion of the day, which is no doubt going to cause me some issues, so we'll pick it up again soon. Right, so we finally made it to the car park, and what an absolute mission that turned out to be. There was diversions of diversions, and diversions of diversions of diversions. So anyway, finally made it, and so I'm just doing a final kit check. So we've switched out my daily sunnies for my running sunnies. Good for those, even though it's raining outside and probably no need for them. But headphones, running belt for carrying my phone, I've got a heart rate strap, I've got the Coros pod for running dynamics. What else have we got? We've got nutrition, so Voom bars, electro energy bars from Voom. So these are fantastic. I discovered these last summer. They're split into 4 segments, so they come in 4 segments, and I take one segment every 20 minutes or so during the run. So for a half marathon, it's ideal. Just keeps me going. Caffeine-free energy. What I tend to find is if I have caffeine either during or before a run, my heart rate spikes and I burn out really quickly. I've tested that theory a few times, and every single time I have caffeine and then go for a run, my heart just goes crazy straight away. I'm really sensitive to it. I do love coffee though, so I'm looking forward to one when I finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out my shoes for my running shoes. I'm going to get all of this gear on, and then I'm going to head to a toilet. We've managed to park up and now switched over to telephone mode. I'm just heading down to the race assembly area down here where there's a bank of toilets. It's just gone 10 o'clock, so I've got about 29 minutes until I've got to head into that starting funnel and towards the start line. Right, so let's find out what's what. Right, so I'm just allowing myself a little bit of a warm-up, maybe a kilometre or so, just to warm the legs up a little bit. Done a bit of stretching as well, just to ease everything off a bit before we take to the start line.
Let's go, fellas!
We're coming into the start. Let's do this.
Waiting for the...
See you again. Thank you. How are we doing? Perfect, thank you. Grab one of those. Here we are. Thank you. Oh, medals as well. Thank you very much. There we have it. A real medal. Whew. So then, there we go. An actual in-person race with actual people in actual real life. So it was a great run. I did enjoy it. My time came in at 1 hour, 26 minutes and 25 seconds. That was the official time that I got text through to me as I finished the race, but also it was the time on my watch. However, the distance on my watch tracked as 20.88 kilometers. Now, full half marathon distance is 21.096 kilometers. So somewhere there seems to be 200 meters or so shy of the full half marathon distance. Now, I did hear a couple of people at the end of the run complaining that it was a couple of 100 meters short. So I don't know if there was an issue with the measurement of the course or what, but anyway, regardless of that, it was still a great run. I wasn't going out there to get a PB or anything. So to me, that distance issue isn't a huge deal, although I can see why lots of people would be frustrated if they were going out to get a PB and it wasn't going to count or whatever on Strava because it wasn't tracked as the full distance. There was some people in the finishing area, the finishing zone, kind of sprinting up and down, trying to get that final 100 or 200 meters or so on their watch. So yeah, I wonder what the issue was then. It was great to meet a couple of people as well at the finish line. Some people that I've not met before came over and had a bit of a chat, so that was good. There was some good support on the course, so the course sort of zigzagged in and out of the city a couple of times, then headed downhill out of the city through the Sunderland Marina and then back through Roker Park. There was a couple of really brutal uphill segments, so there's a couple of nice downhills, but what goes down has to come back up again, and yeah, my legs were drained of energy a few times. So I set off with the intention of trying to hold around about the pace required to get a 90-minute half marathon, and that's around the 4 minutes and 15 seconds per kilometre. I felt comfortable off the start. I looked down at my watch at kilometre 1 and I'd ran a 3-minute 47, which to me, given my current situation coming back from injury, that was never going to be sustainable, given that that's a sub 80-minute half marathon pace. So I eased the pace back a little bit and just settled in to a nice steady rhythm. Now, I started quite close to the back, and so I overtook a few people to start with, and that sort of became my little game in my head, if you like. I was just trying to reel in the next person. So I was just focusing on whoever was in front of me, just going, ticking that person off and trying to overtake them, and then just kind of sitting in what felt like a nice steady rhythm. Perceived effort wise, I tried to remain consistent, so I was trying to hold what felt like a pace that was comfortably uncomfortable enough that I was going to get a half decent time, but I was also going to be able to finish without stopping. And that's what I did, and I'm really happy to say that I came in under 90 minutes. It was a great confidence booster because I haven't done this distance for quite some time. Since having my injury back in January, I've run one very slow and steady training half marathon, and then I've run today. So yeah, it's just good to see that I do still have that sort of endurance, although I was starting to tire towards the end of the run today. The last 5 or 6 kilometers were quite a hilly section, and it was really brutal coming back uphill with a couple of kilometers left to go. That's probably the point at which I thought I could really just do with stopping and walking for a bit now. Fueling seemed to go really well, so I didn't have to take on any water during the run. I drank lots of water before I started, which was good, and I was having a segment of Voom energy bar every 20 minutes or so, so that just held me off well. I was nice and thirsty at the end, but I still felt good. The Alphafly held up well, although I am starting to notice, and I'll show you because I'm stuck in traffic and not going anywhere, the outside of the Zoom AirPod here is sort of worn right down. So I am worried that they haven't got many miles left in them, and I don't think I've done all that many miles, to be honest. I think I've only done perhaps 130 kilometers or so, which is just not very much at all. So yeah, that's not ideal. I need to have a bit of a look at those. Yeah, overall feeling really good about today. It's a really positive one, ticked off. I'm really looking forward to hopefully the September Great North Run, if that does manage to go ahead. It was a great put together event today. Social distancing, safety, all of that sort of stuff was at the forefront of all the marshals' minds. I think it proves that as we come out of these lockdowns and as we get beyond COVID, that these bigger events can start opening up again. Fingers crossed for the Great North Run in September. I'm hoping that that goes ahead. I really look forward to that one and missed it quite a lot last year. So that's it then. First actual in-person race, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all of that sort of great stuff. Send this video to all of your friends, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a good one. Yo!